The Fed parlor game is underway. You've lived through this a few times before. The Journal reporting this morning that Kevin Warsh was at the White House meeting with the President and the Treasury Secretary. Do you know Mr. Warsh? Have you interacted with him?
Our paths have crossed, but my main interactions were with the chairs and the vice chairs and the officials responsible for financial regulation. So I didn't deal with him very, very closely.
I bring it up because the Treasury Secretary was at the meeting, and I wonder what role the Secretary plays in advising the President. You were certainly there when Janet Yellen was
I was there when Janet Yellen was appointed, and I can tell you what happened when I was there. I had the meeting with all of the candidates before they met with the President, and was, as Chief of Staff, advising him. I was about to be Treasury Secretary. Tim was in the conversation, Tim Geithner. And it's a pretty small circle. You know, usually the head of the NEC, the Treasury Secretary, the Chief of Staff. That's kind of the circle that, you know, in my experience, talks to the President about that kind of an appointment. Ultimately, you know, it's an appointment that is of, you know, unique importance. I mean, arguably the chairman of the Fed is, you know, it's in that list of the very most important economic positions in the world. You know, I think from, in my experience, we've had extraordinary individuals chair the Fed who've done so with integrity and intellect. You don't always agree with them, but I've never had you know, concerns about their capacity and their dedication and integrity.
Does background matter? Does it matter if you have an academician or you have somebody from the business world?
So, you know, the one thing that, have you ever been in the Fed building?
I have.
Yeah. It's pretty quiet in the Fed building. It's kind of like a university without students. You can hear a pin drop in a lot of the hallways. So as a matter of personal style, I have talked to people as they've thought about going to the Fed who've wondered, is it an environment they would enjoy spending their days in? You know, people talk about pretty technical things all the time, and you're not involved in the day-to-day, you know, transactional business on many days. I mean, you have the meetings, you have international meetings, and then you kind of retreat into this appropriately kind of academic environment. So when I hear about individuals from the business world, I mean, I have always suggested you ought to make sure it's a place you want to go work.
Very good.